Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk, exploring the issues impacting all of our lives. I'm your host, Austin Harris. On today's episode, we continue our series on what to do this summer by featuring the Cayman National Cultural Foundation Youth Summer Camp, a Cultural Immersion. Joining us in studios today, it is our pleasure to welcome Mr. Michael Lemay, the Camp Director, and via Zoom, Miss Melanie McField, Director of Programs and Communications for the Cayman National Cultural Foundation. Michael and Melanie, thank you so very much for joining us here on Let's Talk.
It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, indeed. Before we begin, we have a bit of a tradition, sort of a get to know our guest a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and, of course, how you became involved with the Youth Summer Camp. We'll go ladies first, Michael, if you don't mind. Melanie, tell us about yourself.
Where do I start? Okay, let's go back 2 years, which is when I started officially with the Cayman National Cultural Foundation as their Chief Cultural Officer. I was then seconded for about a year to the Ministry of Investment and Innovation, where I was in Dubai for several months, and decided, with that being accomplished, came back to the CNCF as their Director of Programs and Communications. This is actually my first year with the Youth Summer Camp. And as the Director of Programs, I felt the need to emphasize the name culture. So we entitled this specific event Cultural Immersion, to make sure that we emphasize how important our culture is at that youth camp and to our participants.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Melanie. A real global experience in terms of her background, and I'm sure it'll be an asset with the Cayman National Cultural Foundation. Michael, likewise, Camp Director, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, you know, with the, especially when Henry and them was there from before, I used to do a lot of work with them, with the camps, especially with Rita. So it just came right down, and then when Melanie and them took over now inside of the CNCF, they called me on, you know, Michael, we want you to come, be a little collab with you and stuff, you know, put on a camp. Can we make this work? I said, yes, you know, it'd be great because a lot of people is looking for stuff to do for summer.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. For the benefit of our audiences and our wider audiences, when we say CNCF, what does that mean? What is the mandate of the organization, and what are some of the other events that you host throughout the year?
Right, so CNCF, also known as the Cayman National Cultural Foundation, our mission is to stimulate, facilitate, and preserve culture and artistic expression, generally and particularly the preservation and exploration of Caymanian performing, visual and literacy arts. So that is our mission. We have staple events throughout the year, including Rundown. We also have Gimme Story. We have K-Fest, which is a week long of activities inclusive of Dress for Culture, our Red Sky at Night, which is one of our more popular events happening. I think it's usually in February of each year. And of course, our Young at Arts program, we want to bring that back to life. And the summer camp is a big part of getting Young at Arts back on track. So we have quite a bit of new events that are coming on board as well that we're happy to discuss at a later time.
Excellent. Now, the camp itself, the CNCF Youth Summer Camp, a Cultural Immersion, is rather unique in and of itself. Tell us what sort of different activities the young summer campers will be exposed to by participating in your camp.
Yeah, in the camp we have, you know, we try to do a little bit of everything. So we have Miss Rosemary from West Bay doing the thatch plaiting, which up to this morning, you know, to see the kids well involved in it. Then we have Reba Dilbert, who does with Badabanu and mask making and stuff. So she's decided to do a little arts and craft and kind of give the kids a little hand with how to use glue guns. Did a little sewing yesterday. We have I call her Melissa, yeah, who does dance with, I think it's Dream Catchers.
Dream Chasers. We have
Melissa
McField.
Yeah, Melissa, yeah.
yeah, the director and owner of Dream Chasers,
I get a little tight.
doing all things dance at the camp, and I believe we have drama as well.
Yeah, we brought down King. Actually, King. We brought him down from England.
Yes.
So just this morning, he started doing drama and stuff for the younger kids. Like Melissa, she been doing. This morning we brought out the pole where they're doing the pole platen and stuff on stage. We also have steel band, which is between me and one of my players, Maya, who's running the steel band and stuff. So it gives them a lot to do. Then we have also where we provide them with breakfast when they come. Also hot lunches that we just switched up the menu for this week and stuff. But it's a great thing, you know. A lot of people look forward for, especially CNCF, and then they'll be next week they'll be walking over now, going to the art gallery and stuff like that, doing little tours and stuff, and also may go into the Mind's Eye on I think that's on South Sound or South Church
Yeah,
Street.
we're doing just to add to what Michael is saying to Austin, what we've done, because the age groups, it's quite a bit of a bracket. It's between the age of 6 and 16. We've decided to divide the groups into Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. So if you can envision, the older group would obviously be the bigger island, Grand Cayman, in between, and then the littles would be, you know, ages 6 to 8.
Okay.
So it makes the experience more, I guess, if you want to say age appropriate for what we're doing with those particular groups. And as Michael mentioned, we're doing field trips as well to Miss Lassie's house and Mind's Eye, where they're going to take tours, of the work that Miss Lassie did over the years, and also the National Gallery. So that's also an exciting part of what's involved in the schedule of activities. And I believe we're also going to try our best to show some form of Cayman style cooking with our caboose. So we're hoping to get that up and going sometime this week.
All right. Now, whilst this may be the first year you're using the name A Cultural Immersion, this isn't the first year, Michael, that you've hosted the CNCF Youth Summer Camp. How many years has this event been taking place over the summers?
From if I can remember, it goes as far as back as, I want to say 2011, but it could even go on further than that. But from when I double checked all of my paperwork from before, the last one I seen up to 2013, but it continued on and it had stopped because of the pandemic. And last year it was 1 week that we put it on for when, you know, Marston and called me to say, can we do a quick summer camp? So it was a little handful, but again, it was in the pandemic, so it wasn't much. We couldn't take so much on. And then obviously we got hit by the little hurricane that hit us last year.
Right. Yeah, indeed. Now, Mel, in terms of the registration process, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that. Is it still open? Are there any prerequisites for parents to be aware of before considering, applying for their children?
Right. So we, as I mentioned previously, the age groups are 6 to 16 in terms of a age prerequisite. We have considered even as low as age 5. And but that was a handful, and that was, you know, user discretion based on having a conversation with the parents. But it really should be 6 to 16. We also decided to provide an online registration form this year to make it more easily accessible to those who would prefer to just go online, register, and have the ability to also pay online. So we were hoping to attract about 70 campers this year, Austin, but we've definitely exceeded that number. I believe the first week we have about 85 or more. And next week so far, at least before I left Cayman, we had about 67 confirmed for next week. So we've certainly hit our target in terms of the numbers that we were hoping to attract. Registration was closed since last week, Wednesday. However, for the week of the 18th to the 22nd, I would leave that to the discretion of my team and Michael to determine whether they can accommodate more students for next week So I wouldn't say it's entirely closed for next week, but for this week, since the camp has already started, it would be closed off for this week.
All right. And these numbers, that we're hearing of, are these the typical numbers for each summer?
No.
Or perhaps is it because there's been such a delay that now you have a large influx of people?
Yeah, everybody's just... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, based on conversations I've had with Michael, I think the most, and also Militia, I think the most they've attracted in the past was between 40 and 50 students. Is that correct, Michael?
The last one we did with them, there was a camp.
Before the hurricane
Yeah,
one.
the most we had there was about, I would say, between 60 and 70, but it normally fluctuated a little lower.
All right.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Austin, obviously, with us getting back on track and to, some form of normalcy, I believe, parents are excited to have their children involved with things for the summer. And there's so many other camps out there. But I think what CNCF offers is that uniqueness of experiencing things Caymanian and that cultural experience. And our price is really good too, if I may say so.
Excellent. Do you have any repeat youth campers? Like, in other words, do you recognize any of the campers this year that perhaps may have attended in previous years?
To be honest, not really.
Okay.
Because a lot of them all growed up and stuff.
Yes.
But it's all new faces, and we still have people. I mean, up to this morning, I have someone calling, can I still enter my child and stuff? I said, well, for this week it's closed, but you can't put in for next week. And I have people has been actually going into next week. Also, people who was at the camp this week is actually going into next week also.
Yes, because we've had persons this week only register for 1 week that now want to continue into the next week. So I can only anticipate the numbers being definitely more than the 80 next week that they are for this week. So that's exciting.
Wonderful. Now, I had an opportunity to visit on your opening day and chatted with some of the youth campers. And again, with just 1 day under your belt, they were having a grand time. Any feedback from their parents? Again, perhaps this year is a bit early to tell, but in terms of feedback from parents for previous years, what's it been like?
From before, the parents, they one of the main things that they always ask for, can we do a full day camp and stuff? We explained to them, it's just kind of hard and stuff like that. But otherwise, you have a lot of parents who's, they like it because of the culture and stuff that the kids can learn. Because believe it or not, you have the schools today aren't teaching much culture, and they need to get more involved with it.
Yes, indeed. Now, speaking of which, it is a half-day camp. And also, where is it physically located?
It's at the Harkwell Theatre itself, in the main theatre.
Okay.
But we use both theatres. So Steel Band goes into the back theatre, and then inside the front theatre we have Reba doing her arts and craft in the green room. It's Rosemay in the front area, and then Militia on top of the main stage.
Yeah, so we've utilized the assets that we have at CNCF, inclusive of the small studio and the main theater, Austin. And we're trying to use as much of that space as possible, because what that also does, it gives the campers, an idea of what the space has to offer. So they're almost getting not just the cultural experience, but they're getting a tour of what facilities we have at CNCF. So as Michael mentioned, the schedule, allows for an entire experience. You have folk music, you have dance, you have cooking, hopefully, you have, traditional arts and crafts, and you have obviously, the steel pan with Michael as our instructor. So yeah.
All right. Now, I know you mentioned this earlier, but I think it's worth repeating. It is a cultural immersion centric youth summer camp where you're bringing cultural icons and cultural activities into the Harkwell Theatre and sharing them with your youth campers. But you're also doing field trips. Talk to us about some of the field trips that young campers will be exposed to.
Yeah, because a lot of the kids don't know much about the Miss Glass's house, which is Mind's Eye, or the
Right.
art gallery, because they're not really much involved with it, or parents don't really think to take the kids out to these kind of stuff. And me personally, when I play music at the art gallery, when they have certain functions, and I go through the tour, there's a lot of stuff that kids can learn inside those places with culture. So with the art gallery being there, it's easy for us to just have the kids walk through a little nature walk to the art gallery,
Yeah.
and they can be separated in groups. Because like at the camp, we have them in different groups and stuff. So they at a certain time you're in this class, and then you swap around. So and with Miss Glasses now, we'll be doing where they'll be having a tour, and having the kids going through the different two homes and showing what took place in these times and stuff.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
and add to what Michael said, Austin, where Miss Lassie is concerned, we have just reopened tours to the schools as of June 1st and also to the public. So we're offering free tours for a limited time, and we're encouraging, people to, you have to book, obviously. We have two tour times from, I think it's 10 to 11 and 11:30 to 12:30. And we're offering tours at least 3 days a week to schools, of course, when schools open back up, and also to the public on Saturdays. So this gives the campers a warm up of what they may experience when they go back to school, and they get that one-on-one tour of Miss Lassie's and Mind's Eye, and to get a peek into her life as an artist, as a visual, intuitive artist.
Yes, yes, indeed. Now, for the benefit of our audiences, and again, we talked about the fact that you're experiencing phenomenal registration numbers for the first week. Again, there may be an opportunity for next week. How do parents in particular contact the youth summer camp, whether it be email or telephone?
So you can contact us on our CNCF at artscayman.org email, or you can email my colleague, Nicole Durant. She's our coordinator for programs, and her email is ndurant, and that's DURRANT at artscayman.org. Or you can call the main line as well. It's 5477.
7-7, yeah.
Excellent. Well, Melanie, Michael, I want to thank you very much for being our guest here on Let's Talk. I want to thank you, the Cayman National Cultural Foundation, and of course, your commitment, Michael, for hosting yet again another youth summer camp. Having experienced it firsthand myself, I think it is a fantastic opportunity, and certainly the campers involved are certainly getting a valuable education. I want to give both of you an opportunity for some closing comments before we end. Again, we'll begin with Melanie.
Thank you, Austin. If I might add, the CNCF website is also a great source of information for what's happening, not just with the camp, but with all things CNCF. We're going to be updating that website shortly with other activities that are coming up the end of June, July, beginning of August. So we have quite a packed schedule happening between now and the end of this year. I can't say much about it just yet, but we're really excited about getting all of those programs in place. And that website is artscayman.org. Our flyer for the summer camp is there as well. If you click on it, you can't register, but you can get all the details about what the camp involves, and also the contact information for how to get in touch with us if you want to register for next week. I want to say a big thank you to Pan and Rhythm and all of the volunteers that came out to support the camp this year, and we're looking forward to working with them again next year. I also want to say a big thank you to Foster's Food Fair, who sponsored, healthy, nutritional meals for the campers. And a big shout out to my CNCF team and all the hard work that they've put in to making this happen.
Indeed.
And thank you to Let's Talk.
It's been our pleasure. And just in terms of what's coming up in the future, certainly I've expressed this to the senior management over at CNCF, but I'll say it to you directly that it would be our pleasure to focus on things Caymanian, things of Cayman culture. And for us, that means supporting the Cayman National Cultural Foundation. So as you complete your strategic planning exercise, and some of the things coming down the pipeline, I hope we can have you back in studios.
We would love to be back for
Yeah, man.
sure, Austin. Absolutely. And we have a lot, so I can take up a lot of space. If you have
Perfect.
it.
Perfect. Michael, again, some closing comments.
Also with mine, I really encourage parents in Cayman especially, bring your kids out. They need to learn the culture. It's there, and the culture is dying in Cayman because it's not keeping up. Kids are too busy being on iPads, or it's not. You don't see a child outside playing a gig anymore, or fishing, or going swimming. It's nothing. It needs to be put back. It should be a demand for the schools.
Yes.
And also with what Mel was saying, a big thanks to Foster's, and I also want to include Uncle Clems, who actually sponsored us some stuff yesterday
Oh,
towards
nice.
the camp. So
Yeah, I didn't know
I
that.
want
Thanks,
to
Uncle
give
Clem.
Uncle Clems a big thanks for that also.
Yes.
And again, a big thanks to CNCF for in collab with Pioneer Rhythm and to putting this on. And again, strongly, parents have to come out for this, And also, the last Friday, which is next week for camp, the kids are not only just there to do stuff, we're actually preparing them to do a little show for the parents on the
nice.
last day.
Very nice.
So for the last half an hour, they'll be putting on dance, a little drama, and some music. So encouraged to come out to see that. Even if you're not at the show or you're not a part of the camp, you can still come to watch the show.
Who
We're
knows?
putting
Maybe,
on a production.
well, who knows? Maybe you'll have some future CNCF actors for
Yes.
other future events hosted by the Harkwell Theatre. Again, Melanie, Michael, thank you so very much for your time, your commitment, certainly for presenting a youth summer camp with a twist that focuses on that much needed and, as you say, Michael, absent Cayman culture that will be passed on to the next generation. Again, I can tell you from firsthand experience, your youth campers are having a blast.
Thank you so much.
Indeed.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And to our audiences, we hope you too enjoyed today's episode. If you did, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And also share your comments, whether it be on the summer camp or if there's a discussion you would like to see hosted here on Let's Talk, please share those comments on our YouTube channel. Also, remember to tune in every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. for another episode of Let's Talk, exploring the issues impacting all of our lives. I'm your host, Austin Harris. Until next time.